The sky above the bone domain turned blood red as the ground twisted into rippling waves. A cold laugh echoed through the air, squeezing the hearts of anyone who heard it. Blood King Rakshasa appeared in a surge of crimson light, his robe whipping like the banner of death. You really thought you could escape? With a single palm strike, space itself exploded. Chin Mu was thrown backward, his defense shattering like glass. Blood sprayed into the air like red mist. His body trembled, then went limp, falling like a puppet with its strings cut. Without a second of hesitation, Kaloi turned into a bolt of lightning, tearing through the sky and catching his companion before the body hit the ground. In that instant, an ancient gray-black stone monument appeared behind him. The boundary stele opened, swallowing them both into endless emptiness. But the crimson light did not give up. Rakshasa slammed down, splitting the earth into a massive crater hundreds of feet wide. The bone domain shook violently, mountains collapsing as if crushed by an invisible hand. Inside the boundary, Stella Chinmu's body burned red waves of killing intent, pouring out of his skin. A hoarse voice echoed from his chest. Too late. This body is mine. Kaloi clenched his fists. Outside, the Demon King hunted them. Inside, an evil spirit was awakening, and the bone domain had already sealed itself shut. After escaping a world-shattering strike from the Blood King, Rakshasa Kaloi thought he had gained a few precious moments to breathe. But inside the silent space of the boundary stele, the real danger was just beginning. Chin Mu lay on the ground, his entire body glowing red like heated iron. Black veins crawled up his neck, throbbing with every heartbeat. The killing intent was no longer invisible, it rose into the air like thick red smoke. Then Chin Mu's eyes snapped open. They were no longer the eyes of the teammate Kaloi once knew, but a strange evil light cold to the bone. Kill me. And he dies too. The hoarse voice came from Chin Mu's mouth, but it was not his. Kaloi understood immediately the evil spirit had been waiting for this moment. Rakshasa's strike had not only badly injured Chin Mu's body but also cracked the seal on his soul. If nothing was done quickly, Chin Mu would be completely taken over. Outside, the Blood King had already placed a bounty across the entire bone domain and set up a massive formation to seal off thousands of miles. Every escape route was locked. Kaloi didn't just have to run, he had to save his friend before it was too late. Would he choose to destroy the evil spirit, or risk everything on another path? If you want to know what Kaloi does next, comment 1 to follow this intense journey. Kaloi did not choose to kill. Inside the boundary stele, which trembled slightly from the aftershocks of the grand formation outside, he formed hand seals. Strands of lightning symbols wrapped around Chin Mu's body, temporarily forcing the evil spirit deeper into his soul. But it was only a delay. He knew the seal would last only a few days at most. If you want to save him, you must become stronger than me. The evil spirit chuckled softly, its voice echoing through the cold gray space. Kaloi lifted his head and looked toward a creature trapped in a corner of the boundary stele, the blood spirit beast. The monster growled low, killing intent rolling off it in waves. But what caught his attention wasn't its ferocity, it was the strange structure inside its body. Lines of light crossed through it like a miniature formation operating under an ancient pattern. If the bone domain had been sealed by a massive formation, then the thing before him might be the key. Outside, the Blood King had sealed every exit and placed bounties everywhere. Time was no longer on his side. Kaloi took a deep breath. Instead of continuing to run, he decided to go deeper into the bone domain to find the core of the formation, uncover the source of the spiritual seal, and most importantly, learn how to unlock the secrets of the blood spirit beast. Running would only delay death. Moving forward might open a path to survive. As he moved deeper into the core of the bone domain, Kaloi stopped running and started searching for its pattern. The gray-black mountain ranges formed a natural formation, and even the earth seemed to breathe with an invisible rhythm. When he set the boundary stele down inside a windless canyon and forcibly opened the seal to observe the blood spirit beast, the truth was revealed. Inside, the creature was not ordinary flesh and blood, but a living formation system. Hundreds of glowing lines twisted together like a massive network. At two brightly shining intersections, Kaloi clearly sensed the aura of supreme divine weapons acting as formation cores. At the very center, a fist-sized clump of earth radiated golden-brown light, the earth core rest soil. He froze. If he could control this structure, he would not only break the bone domain's seal, he could even reshape part of the grand formation itself. But it also confirmed the worst possibility: Blood King Rakshasa was not hunting him out of hatred. He was hunting him because Kaloi now held the key to domination. At that moment, the blood spirit beast opened its eyes. The two divine weapons within its core trembled, and a surge of power nearly tore the boundary stele apart. Kaloi understood from this moment on he was no longer the one being chased. He was holding something powerful enough to change the entire game. The moment Kaloi realized he held the key to controlling the grand formation, the bone domain began to react. From all directions, powerful auras rushed toward him. The Blood King Rakshasa's bounty had ignited greed in every cultivator in the region. The mountains and forests were no longer silent, every rock, every shadow hid the eyes of hunters. As soon as Kaloi left the canyon, he walked straight into an ambush. He turned into a streak of lightning and tore through the wind to escape. But before he could widen the distance, the sky suddenly burst into flames. Liam Hoa appeared. With a slight lift of her hand, thousands of sparks spread like falling stars, weaving together into a chaotic sea of fire, the celestial starfire net. Each time his lightning struck it, the force bounced back as if hitting an invisible wall. "Your escape technique ends here," she said with a faint smile. At that moment, loud laughter rang out. Ko'ui descended outside the ring of fire, his eyes flashing. "Kid, hand over the treasure and I'll let you die quickly." Outside were bounty hunters. Above him was a net of fire. Inside the boundary stele, the blood spirit beast trembled, and Chinmu's breathing grew weaker with every breath. For the first time, Kaloi felt it clearly. There was nowhere left to retreat. Before the fire net could fade, the sky over the bone domain suddenly turned dark crimson. The air thickened heavy like clotted blood. A terrifying pressure descended from above. Blood King Rakshasa had arrived. With just one glance, Liam Hoa's starfire wavered. Ko'ui instinctively stepped back, a flash of fear crossing his eyes. And Kaloi, for the first time, clearly felt the absolute gap between himself and someone standing at the peak. "Hand it over." Rakshasa did not shout. He did not rage. Just two cold words like a final judgment. The grand formation in the sky began to move. Pillars of blood-red light rose from every direction, locking down the space completely. Kaloi's lightning form barely flickered before being forced back like a bolt of thunder trapped inside an iron cage. Inside the boundary stele, the blood spirit beast roared wildly. The two divine weapons in its core shook violently. Thin cracks as fine as threads began to appear across the space within. If it fully erupted, the boundary stele could collapse. At the same time, Chinmu's body convulsed violently. The evil spirit let out a hoarse laugh. "You can't save him. And you can't escape." Outside stood Rakshasa. Inside raged an out-of-control monster. The grand formation sealed off every path to survival. This time there was no way back. Under the crushing pressure that nearly tore his soul apart, Kaloi suddenly stopped resisting. He didn't try to break the formation. He didn't try to escape. He even lowered the lightning aura around his body. "You want it? Then I'll give it back." His words stunned Liam Hoa and Ko'ui for a brief moment. Even Blood King Rakshasa narrowed his eyes slightly. In that instant, Kaloi opened a small crack in the boundary stele, but not to hand over the treasure. He released a strand of aura from the earth core rest soil, the same force that had resonated earlier with the bone domain's earth veins. Immediately, the ground beneath them trembled. In the distance, mountain ranges shaped like swords and axes began to glow faintly. Rakshasa's grand formation shook. "That's impossible," Ko'ui muttered. Kaloi had already realized the truth. The bone domain was part of an ancient weapon burial formation. The current grand formation was only an outer lock. When the rest soil activated its resonance, it created a clash between the two layers of formations. In that split second, the blood-red light in the sky faltered. At the same time, Kaloi sent a voice transmission to Liam Hoa. "The divine weapons inside the blood spirit beast don't belong to him." Her eyes changed. With just a moment of hesitation from the two standing outside, the balance shifted. And for the first time, the Blood King was no longer the only one controlling the game. The moment Liam Hoa hesitated, and Ko'ui's expression changed, the grand formation in the sky fell out of sync. Kaloi did not miss it. He slammed his foot into the ground. Inside the boundary stele, the earth core rest soil flared with brilliant light, resonating with the entire heaven valley. Mountain ranges shaped like swords and axes lit up all at once, as if tens of thousands of ancient divine weapons had awakened together. Rakshasa's blood-red aura was torn into fragments. "You dare!" the Blood King roared, but it was already too late. Kaloi widened the opening of the boundary stele, releasing the violent power of the blood spirit beast outward, not to attack but to create a shockwave between the two layers of formation. Heaven Valley shook violently. A crack in space appeared for the briefest instant. Just one instant. Kaloi rushed into the boundary stele. At the same time, he used his final lightning seal to separate the evil spirit from Chinmu, sealing it inside a shattered fragment of a weapon soul that was pulled into the spatial crack. Light flashed. When the blood-red glow faded, Heaven Valley was left with nothing but a deep scar across the land and the cold fury of Rakshasa. As for Kaloi, he had vanished. But from this moment on, the entire bone domain knew his name. The hunt had only just begun. Want to follow the next part when war erupts between the Blood Palace and the major factions? Comment 1 below, so you don't miss it.